In Ezra chapter 1, we see the beginning of the return of the exiles from Babylon back to Jerusalem. This means that Jeremiah's prophecy is coming true in this chapter, and it says that the king of Persia, named King Cyrus, issued a decree allowing all of the Israelites to return back to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple. And this king even offers support by providing them with things like silver, gold, livestock, and other goods. It says, in response, many of the Jewish leaders and families prepared to return, and they were supported by neighbors and, again, King Cyrus himself. It says also that Cyrus returned the sacred articles of the temple. These were the articles that King Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the temple. So these items were counted and they were given to Sheshbazzar and trusted to him. He was the appointed leader, and he would be responsible for making sure these items made it back to Jerusalem from Babylon. In Ezra chapter 2, the returning exiles are numbered. In total, there were 42,360 Israelites that made the journey from Babylon back to Jerusalem. And it says that there were 7,337 male and female servants alongside them. I mentioned in chapter 1 how the king of Persia, King Cyrus, was offering support by providing the Israelites with materials. But the returning Israelites also came with materials that they were willing to give. It says they offered silver, gold, livestock, and then precious temple utensils. Chapter 2 closes by saying, now the priests, the Levites, some of the people, the singers, the gatekeepers, and the temple servants lived in their towns, and all the rest of Israel in their towns. Chapter 3 of Ezra starts off telling us that in the 7th month, the children of Israel were in the towns, and the people gathered as one man in Jerusalem. It says that Jeshua the high priest, along with Zerubbabel and some of the other leaders of Israel, they all rebuilt the altar of God in Israel. And they're trying to restore proper worship and practices according to the book of the law of Moses. And so, despite the fear of the surrounding enemies, they began to offer burnt offerings, burnt sacrifices, again, according to the law of Moses. And it says they include regular offerings and the Feast of the Tabernacles. And then the temple itself had not been rebuilt, but worship is still restored. And during this time, they are still collecting materials and hiring workers to be able to rebuild the temple. And they began to lay the foundation in the 2nd year after the return. And after the foundation of the temple was complete, there was great celebration with the priests and the Levites, and they led praise to God. An interesting part of this chapter is how it tells us that the younger generation, it says a lot of the people rejoiced loudly at the temple being built. But the older generation wept loudly because they remembered how glorious the temple was before it was destroyed, and the temple now is just not going to be able to match up to its former glory. So the sound among the people at this time is a mixture of joy and a mixture of sorrow.